We just finished watching the Xbox showcase and I live streamed it and had a lot of reactions, and I've had a couple hours now to synthesize those reactions and really think about it. So I just wanted to kind of peel back and give everybody my thoughts on the showcase. First of all, I thought it was a pretty good showcase overall. Not amazing, not everything I wanted, certainly not everything all the analysts and the other influencers were predicting were going to come to pass, and maybe we had too high of expectations, but overall, I think the showcase was pretty good. And I'm going to go into each thing individually, but overall, I just could not understand the lack of gameplay. I'm just going to be consistent upon this with every showcase, and we did have some gameplay and we did have some release dates and some release windows, but overall it just wasn't what I was expecting. As a matter of fact, here's what I said just a few minutes into the presentation.
Guys, is Xbox a movie studio at this point? Where is the gameplay? It's 3 games we've seen now. They said there was going to be gameplay. Okay, I'm getting a little irritated, but this is ridiculous. I'm happy there's a Star Wars game. I love Star Wars. I'm going to play it, most likely. But where's the gameplay? Give me something. Sarah, help us.
Now, maybe I was just a little too focused in on what Aaron Greenberg had said on Twitter a little while back, and I didn't fully read it. I get it. Everything was clearly labeled, but it's still just a little disappointing to spend so long wanting something more from Xbox and not getting it. And I want something more from all of the gaming platforms, all of the publishers and the manufacturers, but it just seems like we're not getting it. And I want something more from all of the manufacturers and all of the publishers and everything, and it just seems like we're in a weird spot. There's so many awesome games coming out across every platform and across every different style of game, and this year's packed, but it just felt like this showcase wasn't exactly what I needed and what everybody else needed for Xbox to really make an incredible showing. Of course, we had a giant look at Starfield, and I'll tell you what, it's going to get rid of a lot of fears that people have about Xbox because Starfield is shaping up to look awesome. But we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Let's go through each of the games and talk about what was shown and what we think about that and see how everything shook out. We start off looking at Richard Ayoade, which I am a big fan of him from the IT crowd, and he's a phenomenal actor and a lot of fun to have around, but I wasn't really sure what's happening here in this trailer. I'm sure that, Fable is one of those games that is not quite suitable for today's culture, I think. There's a lot of things in it that make people probably raise their eyebrows if they go back and play it and forget what was in it at the time. But Fable was always a charming but a little bit off-centered style of humor, and it seems like they're trying to capture that here in this trailer. But my biggest problem with this is that Fable has been announced for so long and we still have not seen really anything from it, and that remains to be seen in this trailer as well. We're just not really seeing what the game is shaping up to be. The biggest kind of clue we got, and who knows if this is going to be part of the game or if this is just part of the trailer, is that we have the narrator of the trailer is a giant and the people in the game apparently are small. I don't know. A lot of it was confusing, and who knows. I have faith in them in Playground to make a good Fable game, and I know that Fable is a franchise that many people love, so it would be a travesty if they totally destroyed it. But overall, I'm just a little disappointed we didn't actually see what the game is shaping up to be. A lot of CGI, a lot of pre-rendered stuff here, and Fable is one of those series that's special and has unique gameplay and really needs to have a strong showing for it to be revered and for the game to continue to sell well in the future. So hopefully they're able to shake all those things out. I love Fable. I hope it will continue to be a good thing, but I just didn't quite get what they were going for here in this trailer. Show me something. Next is South of Midnight, the new third-person action adventure by Compulsion Games. Compulsion Games, of course, made We Happy Few, a couple of other things in the repertoire as well. And I said it was a new third-person action adventure, but I'm not sure how we were supposed to get that from this trailer. Also, another little thing going on with like a larger person and a smaller person and a monster. I don't really know exactly what this game is. The pre-rendered cutscene looked cool and the music was nice, but I'm not really sure what the game is. And that's my problem with the second thing they show in the showcase as a first-party game is here is a CGI cutscene trailer, but we're not going to actually show you anything about the game. Sure, you get a little bit of the lore, you get a little bit of the world, you get a little bit of the atmosphere and what's going on, but I don't know what kind of game we're playing here. It's only because of the Xbox press release that we know anything more about it at all. So, while I am excited for Compulsion to be putting out something different, moving away from the things they've done in the past, I'm still not sure what to expect, and sadly, that's just all we have to go on. Moving on is Ubisoft's Star Wars game, Star Wars Outlaws, and this is the first time we really get to see it. And again, I love Star Wars. I think Ubisoft makes some interesting games, and I've been a big fan of some of their franchises in the past, and not as big of a fan of some more recently. But it remains to be said that Ubisoft is a phenomenal publisher, very prolific, putting out lots of stuff, and a Star Wars open world game, I could not be more happy to have that, as long as, of course, it's done well. Of course, we're going to see some of that Ubisoft stuff trickle into the game, no doubt. But again, it's just CGI. It's entirely cutscenes at this point still, and we don't get to see what it is, and we don't really know anything about it. I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. I love Star Wars. I want to play a Star Wars game. I want to be in an open world Star Wars, but just show me something a little more. My reaction on this one, not so hot, except for the fact that it's Star Wars, and I'm hyped about that. 33 Immortals came up next, and this looks like it could be fun. It's a roguelite, of course, and there are possibility of up to 33 players. I don't know about you, but I don't have 33 friends. Well, maybe I have 33 friends, but not 33 friends I can get all on the same time schedule and play a game together at the same time. But I thought initially that this could be a fun game for streamers and things like that on Twitch to be able to go and invite their communities in and really create a different atmosphere of the game. And of course, I'm sure there's going to be matchmaking and things like that. But as far as a roguelike goes, this looks really cool. There's a lot of Hades vibes in there, especially from the top-down perspective, and a lot of things that are really interesting from a gameplay design, and of course it looks beautiful. I can't take that away from it at all. But essentially the description of 33 Immortals says that you will pick up and raid and cooperate to survive hordes of monsters and rise above the almighty. Sounds fascinating. We actually got to see some gameplay, so that was a lot of fun. It's a game that I'm certainly interested in, but I'm really wanting to see a little bit more about it before we get too hyped. Payday 3 is coming, and they did an extensive trailer in this showcase as well for that. It's I mean, I'm not a big Payday guy. I played Payday 2 a little bit. I think somebody gifted it to me on Steam, and I may have a couple of hours in it. I'm going to be honest with you, when the game is not my speed, I'm just going to tell you that. Payday 3, to me, as someone who doesn't know anything about Payday, looks a lot like Payday 2. And hey, Payday 2, there are still people playing it. So I know that it is a good game that people enjoy, and Payday 3 will certainly bring them lots of fortune. Unfortunately, it's just not a game for me to really comment on too much. Another game for me not to comment on too much is Persona 3 Reload. Now, I did pick up Persona 4 Golden for the Vita and played that for a little while. Didn't finish it, not quite my speed. I played Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal a little bit. Probably about 30 hours or so. I know that's not very much in the scheme of how big that game is, but I'm just not a huge JRPG fan. And Persona 3 Reload is a game that I certainly entirely missed. So while I am very happy for the people who are interested in Persona and for the people who want to play Persona 3 who have never been able to do so in the past, it's again not a game I can comment on. It looks phenomenal. I'm sure that it's going to be made to be new and accessible and things like that. Very happy about that for the people who are interested. Again, I'm very happy to tell you, just not a game for me. Now, if you're not already mad at me for thinking that the Xbox Showcase wasn't everything and more that you wanted it to be, I'm going to make you a little more pissed at me by saying that I just did not think Avowed looked very good. I'm sorry. When they first revealed it, I thought, oh, look, it's an Obsidian Skyrim. I think everybody said that. But for me, who wasn't somebody who was super hot on Fallout New Vegas, I actually played it pre-release. I reviewed the game back in 2010. For somebody who didn't love that game, although I hear it's much better and it's much more revered now. I don't remember that being the case at the time, but at any rate, I was not super hot on that game. And of course, The Outer Worlds was a game that I just fell off of a couple different times. So Obsidian is a studio that I super respect, and I know they are loved. And when I saw Avowed the first time, I thought, this is going to be awesome. This studio, I've just been waiting for something of theirs to click with me. We need a Skyrim from Obsidian. And I just have to say, not a lot about this looks good. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be great. But for how long it's been cooking, the fidelity of this game just isn't quite where it needs to be for me. And it kind of, I hate to say it, it just looked a little boring. I'm sure, once again, you've got so many different cool features that make this look like it's going to be a standout game. I'm just so skeptical at this point of being excited about anything from Obsidian, just because I've seen time and time again that they're not quite my style of games, that I'm unsure where to really go with this. So I'm sorry. Avowed did not look great to me, but I'm still holding out hope that it's going to play really well, because there are plenty of games that don't look great, but they play really well and I love them. Speaking of games that don't look great to a lot of people, but I really love them, Sea of Thieves. I'm a huge Sea of Thieves fan, and anybody who knows me well will tell you that. I stream the game over on Twitch at least a couple times a week, and I will let you know that I have been a big fan of the different things they've done in the past. Here we see that they are doing a tie-in with Monkey Island, the beloved series from the 90s that so many people enjoyed, and personally, I think this is really awesome. I think it is a cool tie-in. I think many people who have been channeling the energy of Monkey Island into Sea of Thieves for a long time are going to be super excited, but as a Sea of Thieves connoisseur, I suppose you could say, I'm not thinking this is going to be great for the game. Yes, there are a lot of people with nostalgia for Monkey Island, and that's amazing. That's awesome that it's getting a new life, even though it just got a new game last year or year before, something like that. Monkey Island is just too old of a series, I think, to really bring a ton of people into Sea of Thieves. And while I'm excited about it for my own personal uses, I'm a little bit scared of what that means for the game. The game's in a weird spot right now. It's lacking a lot of content, and it's been told to us on Twitter that the Monkey Island expansion is going to just be 3 tall tales, which for those who don't know, those are story beats that happen in Sea of Thieves, and they're going to be spread out across different months, I think 3 separate months. So I'm not really sure if this is going to do a lot for the game and for the community, and to bring people who are either lapsed fans or fans of only Monkey Island into the game. Regardless, everything that Rare does, I think they do with excellence, and I'm very excited to see what they do with it. I'm just skeptical that this is the right move, and wondering how much this pulled the developers off of other things in the game that are important and other opportunities as well. It's probably going to be a huge deal, and I know that many people who don't have a lot of interest in Sea of Thieves do have an interest in Monkey Island, and it may connect with them, but for me, I'm not sure. I'm going to play it, and I'm going to love it. I guarantee you that. I just don't know if it was the right move at the time that the stage that Sea of Thieves is in its life cycle, where it's kind of, it needs some more players. It's got a huge player count, but it needs some more players, and I'm not sure if Monkey Island was the right move. We'll find out, and I'm going to play it, and I'm going to love it. But we'll see. Next up is Flight Simulator, a game that I have downloaded multiple times hoping to play, and I play it for an hour or two, and then I just delete it. It's too big, it takes up too much space, I'm too dumb for it, if I'm being totally honest with you, and Flight Simulator 24 looks awesome. There's a bunch of new activities they're introducing, and I think that it's going to be a lot of fun. I know people who have religiously played this series for the entire life of the series, and I think it's awesome. For me, it's not a game that I intend to really play. I'm sure I'll check it out, and maybe even checking it out on cloud would be a good alternative for me, for somebody who doesn't want to have it installed on my machine all the time. But everything that they showed looks cool, and the fact that it is going to introduce a bunch of different modes, I think is really awesome as well, and give a little more life to the game, introduce some people to it that have not been interested in the past, and of course the tie-ins they always do with different things. In this case, it'll be Dune. That is sure to be something that is, really enjoyable for people. Hellblade 2 was shown off, and I have to admit, I'm a little disappointed. And maybe this is just me getting my expectations up, but I really, really, really thought we were going to see a release date, and maybe a little bit more in the game. I really just want to see some combat. I want to see other things that are happening. I want to get a little bit better grip of the story, I suppose. And that's only if they're going to show it off. I'm totally fine to go into a game blind if I know that's a game I'm going to play. But we've just seen this game a couple times now, and we don't have any indication that it's actually coming out on a specific date. So full disclosure, I just played the first Hellblade last week, or a week before maybe, and did a little video about it. You can check that out on the channel after you're done watching this. I'm excited about Hellblade 2, but there just wasn't much here for me to get even more excited about. Man, I'm really pumped to dive in. I just want to know when. Yakuza is a gigantic franchise that I have wanted to get into for a long time, but it's just so big. It's so intimidating to me. So when Like a Dragon came out a few years ago and I got to see a turn-based opportunity and a new entry point into the series, I was very excited. Now we've seen the reveal of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about Yakuza or Like a Dragon or anything else like that, but I just know this series is insane and a lot of people love it. And this is something that I will probably hop into. The trailer didn't really do anything for me. It's a naked man running around on a beach, and I don't really know what the situation is, but I can guarantee you that it will make a splash. And more importantly from this, I think it's cool that we continue to see the interaction with the Yakuza series Like a Dragon and Xbox, because traditionally those games were not there. And once they put them on Game Pass, we really saw that it was a seller for the games, and it really increased the popularity of the game. So I'm excited that this gigantic franchise is going to have an entry on Xbox again, and I think that it's going to be a cool opportunity for a lot of people who are into Like a Dragon and into the series of Yakuza to dig their feet into another sequel. Fallout 76 is up next. There's an expansion. It's something I don't care about. I have played probably 30 or 40 hours of Fallout 76, and I don't know why, because every time I play it, including before it was released, I just don't like it. And I don't think I'm alone in that, but obviously this game is making Xbox a good bit of money. It's one of the most popular games on Game Pass, for that matter. So while I don't care about Fallout 76, I recognize that many people do, and I'm happy for them, although I wish that the studio's efforts could be diverted into something else. Fallout 76 isn't for me, and I know it's not for many people, but hey, money talks. I gotta be consistent with that. If there's a game that's going to make money, they should continue to put it out so that they can funnel more money into other games that people like me are going to enjoy. We got to see a new game from Capcom called Path of the Goddess. It's a Japanese game, third-person action with magic. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I don't know a whole lot else about it other than the fact that it's cool to see more Japanese-style games coming to the platform. Capcom obviously has had a weird relationship in the last few years as far as what they're putting out and where they're putting it out, but it does look like a cool opportunity for Xbox. So I'm excited for that. I don't know if it's a game I'll play, but I think it's a good opportunity for the fans who want to kind of have an opportunity to play some games on Xbox that they don't always get to see there. This was leaked a little bit before, but we did get a release date for Forza Motorsport of October 10th. For those motorsport fans out there, this is very exciting because it's been a long time coming. I know that these games are always done incredibly well. For me, I'm more of a Horizon fan. I am not skilled enough to play the actual sim games. I'm much more of an arcade racer, and I do love Forza Horizon a lot. Forza Motorsport, I've tried in the past, and I'm sure I'll try with this one again, especially with the convenience of Game Pass. But for me, it's not a game that I'm going to play, but I will say every inch of what they have shown us thus far, including in today's showcase, looks phenomenal. And I'm excited to see what they have to go. Maybe I'll be able to get more into motorsport in the future. We will see. I do think it's cool, some of the partnerships they showed off with General Motors. I think seeing the Cadillac and the Corvette in the game and the intricacies and the detail that they've put into them is going to be really cool. And I'm excited for the people who are hyped up for that series. Again, for me, motorsport just doesn't hit, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to play. I need a wheel. Somebody send me a wheel. I'll play the game. Elder Scrolls Online, Necrom, a new expansion. Again, not a game for me. I'm happy for those who are excited for it. I know the Elder Scrolls Online is still huge and they're still adding expansions. And for those people who are into it, I applaud you. I'm not much of an ESO guy, so I'll move on. Overwatch 2 is something I know a little bit more about. I was a big fan of the original Overwatch and played a good bit of it on the PS4. And of course, when Overwatch 2 came out, I have played many hours, probably getting close to 100 hours of Overwatch 2 since it came out last fall. And I will say that I just do not care. I've stopped playing Overwatch 2. The whole reason for an Overwatch 2 was supposedly some story content as well as some, more PvE related stuff. And of course, they were going to spruce up the maps and the heroes and all that. So far, I haven't really seen anything that's interested me, even though I've continued to play it for a ridiculous amount of hours. The fact that you just have a bunch of reskins of environments that we already had before has just not been appealing to me. But it does seem like we're going to be getting some story-related content in the update this fall, and that it's going to be available on Game Pass. We're also going to see a new hero, going to be a part of the support class. I don't really know what kind of situation this would have been had the Activision Blizzard acquisition gone through, and maybe this was already something that was established before that. But it's going to be fascinating to watch the relationship between players who use Game Pass to access these story missions and different things like that, in addition to the hope that Microsoft wants to get Activision Blizzard under their umbrella. We'll see how it goes. For those who are into Overwatch 2, I'm very excited. And if I'm being really honest, Overwatch 2 for me is like a bad ex that you can't quit coming back to. I'm probably going to hop in and check things out, especially once the story-related stuff pops back in. But this, in my opinion, even though it's going to be multi-platform, was a big get for the showcase and a big get for Game Pass. It's really important to keep those people who want to play these living games, these ongoing games, on the subscription model. And I don't know that that is a good thing for the industry or not. It's a good thing for the players for sure. But for people who are in the business of making money, Microsoft, it's a good move. Now, I talked a little bit about Persona earlier, but Persona 5 Tactica is coming. And while I did not finish Persona 5, and I certainly didn't even see half of the game, I really enjoyed it. And Persona 5 is a cool environment, cool world. The music is amazing. And I do enjoy tactics games. So I think this is an awesome addition, especially for a get to be on Game Pass right off the bat. It's a further solidification of Atlas wanting to make their presence more known on Xbox, as they have not done so in the past. So I think that if we just continue to see this kind of stuff, Persona 6, Game Pass on launch, certainly a possibility. Persona 5 Tactica releasing this November. It's a busy time of year already. I don't know if I'll get around to it, but a tactics game in a world that's pretty cool and has some good music, I'm into it. Next up, we saw Starfield. I'm going to save that for a little bit later when we do the full expansion on Starfield, of course. But just to throw it out there for the trailer that we saw, whew. Yes, please. Don't Nod revealed Jusant, an action climbing game with a cool art style. I don't really know exactly what this game is, and that's totally okay. This is just an announcement. But I think that it looks chill. It looks tense, but also just like a world you could curl up into. Don't Nod, of course, has made a lot of games that didn't quite click with me. I mean, Life is Strange has not been a series that I've really glammed onto, and Vampire looks cool, but I've never taken the opportunity to play it. So I don't really have any experience with their games that is positive. But hey, if this turns out to be an interesting, cool little puzzle game, I will certainly be into it. I'm always about a chill, relax, sit in the recliner with a controller kind of game, and Jusant looks like it could be that. Narrative horror is certainly a genre that's growing, and we got to see Still Wakes the Deep today. We didn't really get to see anything about it. We don't know much about it at all, but hey, if you're into narrative horror, this is probably going to be an opportunity for you. I checked out a little bit of Everybody's Gone to the Rapture in the past, their previous game, and I enjoyed it, but it's not my style. If it's your style, let me know. What do you think? Tell me in the comments. Dungeons of Hinterberg is a game that we saw at the showcase. It's a little cel-shaded splash of a game. Getting a bit of it's like a modern day fantasy setting, but it's also set in the real world as well. I didn't really get a firm grip on what this was, other than it seems like there's some dungeons, some ancient ruins, and of course a big piece of this is unique and interesting ways to traverse across the world. So in an article I found, it looks like we are going to also see a relationship building system in this game. We'll have the ability to wield magic, stuff like that. So it looks like it could be a lot of fun, coming to Game Pass next year. The big new expansion for Cyberpunk 2077 has been talked about for a long time, and we knew it was coming, and we got to see a reveal today of Phantom Liberty. Now, I don't really have a lot to say about this because it's more Cyberpunk, and that's a good thing. But what I wanted to talk about was Keanu's voice. I don't understand what happened. Were they trying to make him sound like his in-game character? Because the in-game character, Johnny, sounds more like Keanu than Keanu did in this showcase. At first, I thought it might have been AI, and then I thought maybe that something happened to the audio file and they had to scramble a little bit. I don't really know. I have no idea what was going on with that, but it was distracting the whole way through. Still, Phantom Liberty looks like it could be a cool expansion. There's a lot of world to explore already in Cyberpunk 2077. So if you've already finished the game or you're hoping to start it in the next few months, this is certainly going to be an opportunity for you. For me, I think I've moved on from Cyberpunk. I don't know that I'm going back to it at any point. I had my time. I spent the required energy, and it was a game I was super looking forward to and just kind of fell off of close to release. Picked it back up later, played through it. I think I'm good. I don't think I need Phantom Liberty, but I know that it's going to make a huge splash, and I'm happy that Xbox was able to get it at the showcase. City Skylines 2 is coming out, and I'll tell you what, I spent a lot of time in the original City Skylines. Spent a lot of time with it on Steam, spent a lot of time with it on PlayStation as well, and it actually controlled surprisingly well, which makes me have hope for a city builder genre to take off on console. City Skylines 2, of course, looks much like the original, but of course, with every edition in this genre of games, there's probably going to be some new mechanics and some new things that take off. I'm sure I will play City Skylines 2. I am very much a sim builder kind of player, and I'm excited for it. I don't know what else there is to say really, because they didn't show us a whole lot of extra stuff, but City Skylines was a great game. I'm sure that City Skylines 2 is only going to be an improvement upon that. Again, we're going to get into a genre that I can't really speak on too much. Metaphor Refantazio from Atlas is coming out, and this is the team, of course, who made some of the Persona games in the past, and it's exciting, I think, to see a game get revealed on the Xbox showcase that is a JRPG, a true straight JRPG. Now, I've often been someone who said that why bring more JRPGs to Xbox if you don't have the player base there that wants JRPGs. But at the same time, how are you ever going to get people who only use Xbox to be even familiar with the concept of JRPGs if you don't continue to bring them to the system day and date? And that's exactly what they're doing. So the game looks like a lot of fun. It just isn't a game for me. I'm happy to let you know that it's not a game that you should probably look to me for a lot of guidance on or a lot of opinions on, but I do think that the fact that it's a JRPG and coming to Xbox on release is a cool thing. And while I'm not really a JRPG fan, I am an ARPG fan, an action RPG fan, and I think that this game looks pretty cool. Towerborne is coming from the makers of Banner Saga. A really crazy art style, looks like a lot of cool cutscenes. It almost appears to have a turn-based format, which I would be really into, but this is definitely more of an action RPG. This very much looks like a game that will be pretty easy to play, but difficult to master, if you know what I mean. It's not the kind of game you can just go in and mash buttons, but at the same time, if that is what you do, you'll get somewhere, just maybe not really well. It's not coming out till 2024, as with many of the other games in this showcase, so I'm sure we'll see more about it before then. Now, I've played exactly 2 games from In Exile. The original, The Bard's Tale, and Wasteland 2. And I thought they were both phenomenal. But other than that, I don't have a whole lot of experience with more recent In Exile. But this next game that they're bringing out is right up my alley. Clockwork Revolution looks like it's going to bring in some time mechanics, as well as a steampunk atmosphere. I saw a lot of people in chat when I was streaming this, as well as on Twitter after the fact, saying that this looks a lot like BioShock Infinite. And yes, I will agree, it does give off some of those vibes. However, I think there's also going to be a lot of things in this game that are not like BioShock Infinite at all. I'm very excited for it. I don't know exactly what it's going to bring other than what we saw in the trailer and what we're seeing here now. And I think that it is going to be a breakout for In Exile. Even though they're already a really well-known studio and really revered, I think that this game might be the one that puts them on the map for players like me. Clockwork Revolution doesn't have a release date yet. We've just now seen the beginning of it. But like I said, I think we'll see some more of it, and I'm excited to find out exactly what is making that clockwork. Sorry, I'm sorry. Now, I wasn't really aware that Series X's were hard to find because I have seen them on quite a few store shelves, but Phil Spencer came out and let us know that they are increasing the supply of Series X's as well as introducing a new Series S. The console is going to come out with a terabyte of space, which is a huge thing for people who need to keep a bunch of games on their hard drive. I'm someone who, as soon as I'm done with a game, I delete it and move on. So I've never really understood these different concerns with storage, but I know there are many people who do. And of course, Xbox had the Western Digital expansion that could give you an additional amount of space, but for people who just want to be able to have a box that has the storage inside of it, 1 terabyte for $350. Looks like the console is going to be black as well, which many people, of course, want for the Series S. So this is a cool thing. It's interesting to me that we've started seeing the Series S go for as little as $220 to $250, but since Microsoft is still selling the console for $300 and they have not officially reduced the price, an extra $50 for an extra 512 gigabytes of space, bringing that up to a terabyte, That's a pretty good deal if you ask me. The Series S is a great little travel machine. It's also a great machine if you are someone who mostly plays on a PC or you play on in multiple locations in your home, just to have that somewhere where you can pop down and play some Game Pass games on it. That's exactly what I have it for. For those who need a little more storage space, an extra $50, not too bad. If you're someone who doesn't want to spend a whole $350 to get a new one, of course, the expansion card for the original Series S is still there for you. Now let's talk about Starfield. Oh, Starfield. Now, I'm not much of a hype man. I don't really get too excited and over the top for different games. But Starfield looks amazing. And as a matter of fact, if it hadn't been for this showcase, I was pretty much media blackout on the game. I'm very, very intrigued by everything it has to show. And this game honestly looks so massive that it almost gave me a stomachache just thinking about all the different things you could do inside of it. Todd Howard has once again blessed us with another masterpiece from Bethesda. And I'll tell you what, if it weren't for the fact that there are other games coming out this fall and winter that I want to play, one of which being Spider-Man 2, Starfield might consume my life, and it might do that anyway. Now, I'm not going to go over everything they went over in the 45-minute little showcase they had specifically for Starfield, but it is very obvious that this game is going to be absolutely massive, not only in the size of the game, but in influence in the industry. The last game that really had this kind of impact, in my opinion, was Skyrim. And if you're going to put out a new game from the studio that made Skyrim, it looks like Starfield is going to be the one. I don't really want to talk about a lot of stuff, but the fact that there is a building mechanic in the game where you can actually customize your ship and you can build it out to be whatever you want and you can hire a crew and manage it, honestly, that's enough of a game right there for me to be interested. The fact that there are other things in Starfield for you to do is just icing on the cake, in my opinion. There have never been worlds I wanted to be more immersed in than Bethesda Studios games, and Starfield is certainly not going to be any less of a game like that for me. So I don't really want to talk about too much of what the game is. I just want to let you know that I think it looks awesome, and I'm going to play it, and I'm probably going to buy a special edition, and I'm probably going to pre-order it, and I'm probably going to play it early. And yes, I'm just being a hype man. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, by the way, but there is no way this game runs in 60 frames per second on an Xbox console, whether it's a Series S or a Series X. PC gamers, we might barely be able to pull 60 out of this one, but there is so much going on in this world, and that's a good thing, in my opinion, that I just do not see how a Bethesda game is going to be able to run in 60 frames on a console. I just don't see it. I would be happy to be wrong, and maybe even by the time this video is out, somebody will have said something that proves me wrong. But this game is just so massive and has so many things going on in it that I'm excited. So that's what I think about pretty much everything that was shown in the showcase. Some of the things I'm very excited for, some of the things I don't really have any idea what's going on with it, and some of the stuff is just plain not for me. What did you think? What were your impressions on the showcase? Best showcase ever? Meh. Terrible. Let me know down in the comments. And of course, if you haven't already, I'd appreciate a subscription. It really helps out the channel and it really makes my day. Thanks and have a great day.